What's up guys, it's Mike here, and today I'm going to share how one very unconventional property ended up yielding me a 10% cash on cash return and $1,000 per month positive cash flow. Enjoy. In 2017, I came across a property in a rural community that stood out to me. It was located in an area where I had grown up, and the price caught my attention. There was an old abandoned house on a lot, and it was selling for much less than anything else in that area. I decided to check the place out and see what I thought. The house was small and it was run down, but I knew at this price I had a bunch of different options available to me. I ended up putting in an all-cash offer, and after a few rounds of negotiating, a deal was made. Now, before you think that mentioning an all-cash offer is some sort of weird flex, I should mention that the agreed-upon price for this property was just $46,250, which in reality is much less than many deposits other people put on larger properties. The all-cash offer and quick closing date are important to sellers and generally considered much stronger offers than those that are subject to financing or many other conditions. After a few more visits to the property, I became more and more concerned. The utilities had been disconnected and the house had been abandoned for some time. Without the service to the house, the sump pump was no longer able to pump water out of the crawl space. This meant that a pool of water had collected and condensation from it had started to damage the main floor and structure of the home. It was going to be a major overhaul, and the small square footage and the low ceiling height upstairs were also considered during the evaluation process. At this point, I decided that renovating this home simply would not be worth the time and the effort. After careful consideration, I decided to have the building torn down and hauled away so I could start again with a blank canvas. Before I could get the property demolished, I needed permits and to find a contractor that was able to do it. As far as getting the permits goes, it was quite simple, and I was able to do it myself with a simple visit to the local municipality's office. As far as going and getting a contractor, the process took a few more steps. At first, I looked online and identified a list of candidates that would be able to do it. Once I have done this, I asked them to provide quotations. As soon as I had the quotations in front of me, I evaluated them based on the contractor's experience, the price, and how the interaction with them actually went. Finally, I found somebody that was able to do it, and I looked forward to working with and awarded the contract to them. A few months later, the building was demolished using an excavator and a mini hoe. Overall, the process went off without a hitch. There was a few tricky parts of getting the cinder blocks up out of the excavation, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out overall. To have the house demolished and hauled away, it cost me about $7,500, and then to fill in the open excavation with material, it was about another $1,000. I now had a little bit over $55,000 invested into this property, but I had the blank slate I wanted to work with. At this point, I contemplated building from scratch or having an existing building brought in. I decided to purchase a mobile home because I could do it with the cash that I had, and I could avoid going through the financing process. This was important to me because I had just finished closing on a couple of other properties, and I didn't want to take on any more debt. I looked online, mostly through realtor.ca, and eventually found a 2006 mobile home foreclosure being sold by a bank. It was a fixer-upper, but it was 2x6 construction, made by a reputable manufacturer, and it had a lot of potential. I ended up getting this property for $33,000, and it cost another $4,000 to have it moved to my location. I owe a shout out to Triple H Building Movers as well as Simon from Pleasant Homes for their professionalism and help getting the mobile home moved and set up in place. Once it was on site, I was able to get the last of the permits and the utilities connected. As soon as there was power and heat inside, the unit was fully renovated. The renovations included interior and exterior paint, laminate floors, trim, tile work, and refinished decks. I'd also like to thank my brother Cam and good friend Nick for their efforts in getting it done. I've attached a brief slideshow to this presentation so you could see how it turned out for yourselves. Alright, so I'll be the first to admit that this investing strategy has been a little bit unorthodox, but it has definitely paid off. I opened the video by saying it returns 10% cash on cash and has $1,000 a month positive cash flow. Let's take a closer look at the numbers to see how I arrived there. The total amount invested is $119,000. The lot value was $46,250, the demolition $7,500, $1,000 for fill material in the crawl space, $33,000 for the mobile home, $4,000 to have it moved, $5,000 to have the utilities connected, $20,000 in renovations, $2,250 in landscaping, for a total of $119,000. To calculate the cash flow, first we need to determine the cash in and the cash out. The cash in is the monthly rental rate. At market rates, I have the property rented out for $1,200 per month or $14,400 annually. The property tax is still just $400 a year or $35 a month. I know this value is going to go up once it's reassessed, but eventually the market rent will go up as well. So for illustration purposes, I'm going to base this on the actual property tax, knowing that the value is going to increase someday. The annual insurance is $1,500, and that comes to $125 per month. I've factored in $40 per month for repairs and maintenance, but since this is a fully renovated property, I haven't really needed to tap into this yet. The monthly cash flow is $1,200 per month minus $35 minus $125 minus $40 for a positive cash flow of $1,000 or $12,000 annually. Now we're able to calculate the cash on cash return of the property. We know that the annual cash flow is $12,000 and that the total cash invested is $119,000. To arrive at the cash on cash return, we divide the annual cash flow of $12,000 into $119,000, and you'll see that it yields an annual return of slightly over 10%. I've got to say that developing the property was actually a lot of fun. It was my very first time doing a lot of these things, and it was a major undertaking for me, but it was definitely worth it. I'd never developed a property like this from start to finish. I had never demolished a building and had it hauled away. I had never moved in a home from one other area to a new area. When I was able to do something myself, I certainly did. But if the skill set was outside my circle of confidence, I'd hire a subcontractor. When it came to hiring subcontractors to do the work, I did my due diligence, and I didn't always choose the lowest price possible. Sometimes I got a lower quote, but if I didn't like my interaction with the subcontractor, then I would stay away from him. I knew that if I could communicate well with the person I was hiring, that my vision would be followed and things would turn out the way I wanted them to in the long run. Being able to include my family and friends on this project made it even more special to me. It was nice to work with them and have them see the finished product as well. For this video and project, I'm really curious to know what people's thoughts are. Is it something you would be interested in doing yourselves? Have you considered doing something like this before, or maybe you have already done it? Do you think the return was worth my efforts? If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below and I'll be sure to respond. I enjoyed making this video and even included some B-roll. I have to be honest, a week ago, I didn't even know what B-roll was. My goal for this channel is to connect with other like-minded individuals. All I ask is that if you like the content, please smash the like button and subscribe. These two simple things will go a long way in helping me to connect with more people. Thank you very much for sticking it out to the very end. Good luck with your investments, and goodbye now.